Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/AITA. In today's episode, AITA for thinking my stepdaughter would be fine on the couch for a couple days? AITA for petting someone's emotional support dog without asking them? AITA for asking my mom to remove a photo of me from her sitting room? Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. AITA for thinking my stepdaughter would be fine on the couch for a couple days? I have 3 kids, 10F, 8M, 7M, from a previous marriage, and my wife has one, 12F. We've been married for 6 months and all of the kids have had trouble adjusting. My daughter doesn't like not being the oldest/only daughter. My stepdaughter can be possessive over her mom. Neither of them are great at sharing. We just took our first vacation together with me, my wife, the kids, and my wife's sister, 23, who lives with us and helps with the kids. The room arrangements were me and my wife in the master, my sale in the second bedroom with a double bed, my daughter and stepdaughter in a room with 2 twin beds, and my sons in a room with a double bed. The first night we got to the rental pretty late and everyone went to bed with no problems. The second night my wife and I went out and my sale told me that my stepdaughter was sleeping in her room because she and my daughter got into an argument. The third night my stepdaughter came to me and said that my daughter kicked her out of their room. I went to talk to my daughter and she said she hated sharing a room and wanted my stepdaughter gone. I know it sounds mean, but she's never had to share a room before and she's still adjusting. I told my stepdaughter that my daughter needed her own space and to sleep on the couch or see if she could sleep with her aunt again. She started to cry and went to her aunt. My sale told my wife what happened and my wife yelled at me for kicking my stepdaughter out of the room and said that my daughter should have had to leave if she had the problem, but my daughter's used to having her own room and bed. My stepdaughter shared a pull-out couch with my wife for 5 years before they moved in with me. I thought she wouldn't mind since she's so used to sharing beds/sleeping on the couch. My wife started yelling at me for favoring my daughter and she and my sale ended up leaving early with my stepdaughter. They've all ignored me and my kids since we got back, and although they never mentioned anything about leaving, I think they might be planning on leaving. My sale has been taking extra babysitting jobs and my wife started doing random odd jobs for cash. I'm starting to think I screwed up here, but I wanted to know if I was the asshole for thinking she'd be fine on the couch for a few days. YTA. Your daughter was the problem, not your stepdaughter. What each of them is used to is irrelevant. If your daughter couldn't share, she should have been the one to sleep on the couch. Or maybe you could have consulted her before booking and got them separate rooms. You're putting children into a new, challenging living arrangement, you're not willing to help them adjust, and you expect them to figure it out on their own. This comment needs to get upvoted. OP, you're going to have to call out your daughter's shitty behavior when you see it. This was a time where your daughter had shitty behavior, by the way. Parenting isn't always the good stuff. YTA. For showing your bio daughter blatant favoritism over your stepdaughter. You guys were in a hotel with limited space. You should have told your daughter to accept having a roommate until you got home. With your actions, you showed your stepdaughter your relationship is not a two-way street. She'd have to treat you like a full-on parent, while you'd always let your bio kids take precedent over her. And I think if there's warning signs your wife is preparing for a potential divorce and moving out, this likely has been a pattern of behavior you exhibited for a while now, even if you don't realize it. I would have told the daughter that if having her own space was so important, she was welcome to take the couch herself. OP was out of line. Trouble adjusting means helping them adjust, not enable them. YTA. Others have already correctly called you out for mishandling things with your stepdaughter. But I'll point out that you are also the AH for how you apparently handled things with your wife. Presumably. Instead of asking your wife before acting, you unilaterally decided to move your stepdaughter to the couch. Instead of listening to your wife, You justified your view because it was a nice couch and she's used to it. Instead of apologizing and finding a compromise or better alternative while on vacation, you forced them to leave. Instead of realizing how you've hurt your wife and trying to rectify the situation, you are here still trying to justify your behavior. The reality is, you screwed up. I hope you can accept that and admit it to your wife and admit it to your stepdaughter. Then listen and try to learn how to handle things better next time. YTA. And I'm guessing you came here for justification. How's that working out for you? Can you see you're at fault yet? Guessing not, since OP is arguing with everyone who responds. YTA big time. Whether stepdaughter would be fine on the couch isn't the question. The question is, why are you okay with your bio daughter kicking your stepdaughter out of a shared room? That's blatant and unwarranted favoritism. Why didn't you tell bio daughter that this isn't her room, so she doesn't get to claim ownership? Maybe you should have gotten a cabin with more rooms so princess wouldn't have to share a room. Exactly. The pull-out sofa itself was probably fine from a completely objective standpoint. But, obviously, it's the emotional impact that matters. And there were enough beds, no one should have been forced to sleep there. AITA for petting someone's emotional support dog without asking them? I normally work from home, but today I have no internet, so I have to go to the library to work. I got on the bus and I sat in a section where other bus riders sit across from you. 20 minutes into the bus ride, a woman got on the bus and sat across from me. She had an incredibly beautiful golden retriever. Now, something I need to preface is that I love dogs. They're my favorite animal, and whenever I see a dog, I get giddy and I smile like an idiot. The dog came up and sniffed my leg. I placed my hand in front of them to see if they were friendly. The dog waged its tail and I started petting the top of their head. The owner pulled the dog back and said to me that this was their emotional support animal and that it was wrong of me to pet their dog without permission. I apologized and kept my hands to myself. She would not let it go though, and she continued to chastise me for having pet her dog like that. I was confused and I asked her what she meant. She told me that what I did was incredibly improper and rude. I apologized again, but she wouldn't stop. She went into a complete tirade telling me that everyone knows you shouldn't pet people's emotional support dogs, and I was being a selfish asshole. This woman worked herself up so much that she started crying and told me that I wasn't treating her like a human being. I was so freaked out and I couldn't believe what was happening. I was about 2 stops away from the library, so I just got off and walked the rest of the way. I really didn't mean for any of that to happen. Was what I did really so bad? I know you're not supposed to pet service animals, but there was nothing to indicate that her dog was an emotional support dog. NTA. I think a lot of people here are making grandiose claims and missing the point of this sub. The question isn't, was what you did wrong in any way? It's, are you the AH? A dog approached you and interacted with you. You initially reached out, without touching, to test if it was friendly and interested. No one corrected you at this point, or attempted to correct the dog. You then pet it as all indicators pointed to that being okay. When told to stop, you immediately did and apologized. Should you have asked if it was okay to pet instead of assuming? Sure. Does that make you an AH? Absolutely not, that's ridiculous. You made a friendly gesture towards a dog and were not stopped despite the owner having ample time to address the situation before the pet. I would have likely made the same assumption as you. The owner also wasn't the AH at first, but most definitely became one after goading you about the situation to the degree that you felt uncomfortable enough that you had to leave the bus. ESH. Because first of all, ESAs are just pets. They are not service animals, and she needs to stop acting like they are on the same level. Second, she needs to learn what sit, stay, and heel mean. Because you shouldn't be petting anyone's dog without permission. even when the dog approaches you. AITA. She let the dog go up to you and interact with you. It's not a service animal that has a vest, nothing to indicate from the dog or her that you shouldn't touch the dog. I would have done the same. You seem to have given ample opportunity for her to say something and she didn't. It is more polite to ask, but I don't see anything wrong with what you wrote. This person emotionally collapsed when their unmarked dog went up to you and wanted to be pet. I think the person needs more emotional support than what the dog can provide. Going to need a bigger dog, heck, might be a job for an emotional support horse. When did people become so fragile? NTA, if you had gone over to the dog, I'd say it was your fault, but the fact that she let the dog go to you, waited till you'd interacted, then pulled it back and used it to flip out on you tells me that she set up that whole drama on purpose. I feel sorry for that dog, honestly. NTA, the dog didn't have a vest/sign. The woman let the dog get up close to you, and the dog approached you, it sniffed you, and you made sure it was friendly as well. You didn't go out of your way to purposefully pet this dog. What if you had been allergic? Or what if the dog jumped on your legs and you're afraid of dogs? The woman is the asshole in this story, getting upset and complaining about someone petting their dog when they themselves aren't even watching or ensuring the dog is as close to them as possible, and letting it randomly approach people. Whenever I see people coming up close to me in the street, I ensure my dog is as close to me as possible. I also try to read people's body language as best as possible. However, body language doesn't always express the truth, so I just ensure my dog is as close to me as possible. If a dog bites someone, it's always the owner's fault, unless the dog is trying to defend itself from being hurt, obviously, because they weren't watching it close enough. They may have let it off the leash in a public area, especially if it's one with kids around, or they were unaware of how vicious the breed of dog is. So yeah, NTA people need to learn that dogs aren't like humans and need to ensure the dog doesn't pose any threat to the people around them, i.e. keeping it as close as possible to themselves. NTA. Apparently too many people here can't read or can't grasp that the dog approached you for pets. That makes petting the dog fine. If the owner doesn't want people petting their dog, it's their responsibility to keep their dog from approaching people. Second, this specifically. If the person didn't want other people petting their dog, they shouldn't allow the dog to approach others. Entirely on the other person. OP is NTA. NTA Shiab has that emotional support animal for a reason, and unfortunately you first-hand witnessed why. Best thing you did was apologize, although she's allowing her dog to interact with PPL and then getting upset about it. Yeah, you can see that this dog's owner needs emotional support and probably more than they are getting. It's unfortunate that they yelled at OP, but they clearly have problems. OP is NTA. NTA. The dog approached you. Owner should control the dog if that's how they feel about other people interacting with it. AITA for asking my mom to remove a photo of me from her sitting room? Before I start, I just want to say that my mom is literally one of the nicest, most loving people I know, and that her and my dad have been a real support to me throughout my life. So I might be TA here. I'm 37F, currently going through a divorce. My husband and I split up a year and a half ago, and it was a painful, hard experience. I'm pretty much over it now, and have come out the other side, ready to move on. My mom is very family-oriented and loves having photos of family in the house. Her sitting room is full of framed photos of the family. She did have a photo of me and my husband on our wedding day, but after we split, she took it down after I asked her to. Since then, she didn't really have a recent picture of me up. I honestly didn't care about this. However, when I went over today, she had put up a new pic of me. It was from my wedding day, but is a close-up image of just my face, so you wouldn't know it was a wedding photo unless someone told you. However, I instantly recognized it as a picture from my wedding, which was nearly 10 years ago, so not even a recent pic. I asked Mom to take it down and replace it with a different picture. I said I didn't want to see a pic of me on my wedding day every time I went over. She said that it was a lovely picture of me, it didn't look like a wedding photo, and that I looked so nice on that day, it's a shame to waste the photo. She also said that ultimately it's her house, and she can put up any photo she wants, and this is a pic that she likes. I still dislike it. Am I being an oversensitive asshole who just needs to get over myself? Edit, thanks all. Seems the comments seem to be pretty 50-50ths over whether I'm being an AH or not. I'm more than willing to admit that I might be in the wrong here. Ultimately, I agree that it is her house and she can do what she wants, and if she wants to keep the pic, then I can live with it. It's not that big of a deal. I think it just threw me today since I wasn't expecting to see the picture when I went over. I'm not massively traumatized by seeing the photo, but I just look so happy on that picture, looking at it just makes me a bit sad. The end of my marriage was sudden and traumatic, and took a lot of processing. I am pretty much over it, but thinking about it does still make me a bit sad. Gifting a new photo might be an idea, but I don't think I'd have them done professionally. It's just not me, and my mom would assume I had had a personality transplant. I do have some nice recent casual pics I could suggest for her perhaps. After posting this, I reflected on whether there might be another reason why it bothers me, and I think the fact that the picture is so old and I don't really look like that anymore might be something that irks me a bit. I'm a decade older and look at and a lot grayer and heavier than I was back then. It feels like it's not really a pic of me. Anyway, thanks all. I am reading and taking on board all your comments. Edit 2, just to add as well, since a lot of people have brought it up, the photo isn't one that was taken by the professional photographer. It was one my mom took herself before the ceremony. YTA. She wants a picture of you and removed anything that showed it was a wedding picture. Instead of being upset with her, why don't you select a picture of yourself, print it to the correct size, and the next time you are over replace the picture. Exactly, she wants a nice picture of you. Be proactive and create one you are both happy with. I get not wanting to see a picture that is connected to a wedding, but you are the one making it difficult by not providing good alternatives. I wholeheartedly disagree. As someone who also went through a painful divorce, you do whatever you need to heal. There is no reason for reminders of that pain to be on display by people who love you. Seems your mother cares more about a picture than your feelings. Maybe it takes a painful divorce to understand how long that pain stays with you. NTA. Every day I come to Reddit and surprised how much conflict there are between families for such normal things. Not sure what is so hard about. Mom, I would like for you to hang another picture of me because this one is making me uncomfortable. Okay, honey, let me know what picture you would like. Why are people difficult? NTA. She did ask her mom to hang another photo, and her mom said no. Yes, people love to have opinions like actually it's her house and she can do whatever she wants, okay sure, but if my daughter told me a picture brought back unpleasant memories, I'd simply replace it without question. NAH, you have specific feelings about your wedding, but your mom also wants a good picture of you. Clearly, she tried to accommodate your feelings, so she has done nothing wrong. You, on the other hand, realize where that picture came from, so I can understand why it bothers you. IMHO, this is a case where you should try and work with her. Maybe leave it up until you get another good picture. Maybe you just swallow your feelings, given the fact that you are the only one that knows where the picture originated. Nah. I can understand not wanting to see anything that reminds you of your wedding day now that the marriage is over. But your mom just wants to display a nice picture of you in her home. This could easily be resolved by just giving her a nice pic of you. Love this idea. Frame a photo you like of yourself. Give to mom. She will get the idea. I completely understand feeling stung every time you look at the wedding one. You don't need to get slapped in the face every time you're at her home. I'm sure your mom is as kind as you described, but she needs to get a clue here. Also, Opie should ask what particularly her mom liked about the photo. Hairstyle? Makeup? That way she will have no reason not to accept the replacement picture. It could be as simple as it's the only photo of Opie with curly or straight hair. NTA, it's very reasonable that you wouldn't want your mom to display that picture. Perhaps gift her another picture. I agree that it's her house and she can display what she wants, but her knowing it upsets you and still keeping up makes her a bit of an AH. Nah. I get you not wanting to see a wedding picture after going through a painful divorce. I also see how she might think that careful cropping, so it doesn't look like a wedding photo, makes it okay for everyone but you. The best solution? Go get a photo taken and gift it to your mom. Problem solved. NAH. I see a lot of people commenting to gift her a picture of you that you like better. I think I can one-up that with this suggestion: plan a photo shoot with you and your mom together, or go out and do something both of you love together and take pictures of the two of you that she can put up. That way you two create a new memory together that's much better than some random picture of you that's just a meaningless replacement. Make it something meaningful that has a lasting memory behind it too. I was thinking Opie should plan a silly photo shoot like a replication of an older photo for fun. I bet her mom would think that was fun to be a part of too. Or her mom could just keep the picture in her bedroom where Opie will never have a reason to see it. That seems like the full win-win. The scales were tipping towards the mom slightly until I got to it's my house and I can use what photos I like, at which point, fuck the mom. If the original picky was no longer appropriate, what is so hard about her saying to Opie, "Do you have a nice picture of you I can display? Instead of your face looked so nice in this car crash, I just edited out the mangled wreckage and displayed your lovely smile." NTA. Give her a nice photo of yourself, taken at a studio if necessary, and ask her to display it instead of the wedding day photo. If she refuses, tell her she can either have the wedding day photo in her house or you, but not both at the same time. Info: would she be willing to replace the photo if you gave her a different pic of yourself? I can see this being a reasonable compromise for both parties involved. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.